What's up, everyone? It's Wacko. Welcome you to another draft recap. This time, it is the SPS off season once more. This time they're doing Paldex, which is not a format that they typically play. They usually do Nat decks, but I think um, they did Paldex. I think maybe the first two seasons of Gen 9, but it was when the league was under the rule of Sun. But now it's back under Dawson, and I kind of like the direction that Dawson has gone a little bit more. Unfortunately, he made a wrong decision this time and chose Paldex. And as much as I almost didn't sign up for this, I really wanted to try a couple things, just to test a couple mons or like even like play styles, and maybe just even get more comfortable with like having to draft in a place where there's not a lot of options when you get destroyed, and man, did I get destroyed. So this was a 16-man pools, um, and instead of a typical offseason where it's 8-mon, we are allowed to pick pretty much just a full draft of with 110 points, 9 to 11 mons, which is kind of crazy because I actually think in Paldex that 110 points is like a lot. Um, but it could have been the way that things were tiered. Is just like if I were to show you the draft board, you would see that the only mon open above like 12 points is Iron Hands, I think. But like everything from 19 to 12 is picked, other than Iron Hands. So obviously, there's no Iron Hands on this draft. So I'm actually going to go through my initial draft process and my thoughts between each pick, um, in case there's like any new watchers around or you just want to see. I mostly really just want to show how violent this division. But I just want to show how violent this division was when it came to drafting, and it was pretty crazy. So, with that said, we're gonna have our first pick, which is Garchomp. I have used Garchomp quite a bit recently. Um, However, I was ninth pick, and someone I was actually gonna pick Iron Treads, but I actually felt like I used Iron Treads more than Garchomp, and I didn't really like the other options on the list. I thought Garchomp was likely the best mon on the board without Terra. I was gonna get Terra Zarude if it was open, but Lunar took it like the pick before me, which is gonna be a pretty common theme in this draft that people just take things like right before I'm about to pick them. But yeah, so I take Garchomp, which is pretty decent in Paldex. I think the only tool it's really missing is like Toxic, but it does still get Stealth Rock Spikes, Roar, Dragon. Well, I mean it would probably be Dragon Tail, but yeah, but it gets those. It gets Swords Dance, Scale Shot, still I believe. So other than not having Toxic, like it still basically has everything that Garchomp would do. Um, and I did not mind the pick that I had of that. And also the last time I played Paldex, like a typical draft format, I drafted Garchomp and it helped me win a chip. So Garchomp is pretty cool. My next pick is going to be a Terra Captain, and I picked up Keldeo. Um, this is a mon that I told myself that I was going to force myself to use at some point if I had the chance, because um, one of my friends, Orn, has played with this mon a lot, and I just keep seeing time and time again how good this mon is and how consistent it is at like winning games. How hard it is to beat at some points. Now it's gonna take me getting used to, I think, because I think Orn is a lot. I think he uses his brain a lot more than I would when it comes to building like mons like Keldeo, whereas I am the type of player that would think more about just clicking like Terra Water Choice Specs Keldeo or like Terra Fighting with Vacuum Wave. But it might get me used to using like Terra Steel Sub Calm Mine setup or something like that. So yeah, pretty interesting mon to use, and I picked up Keldeo. Also gave me decent priority, and I just want to secure like a good Terra Captain at that point. Next up, we have Weavile, which I was originally not going to pick. I really wanted Cinderace because I wanted to secure a mon that had some form of removal or just like anti-hazards in general because Cinderace has Court Change. Unfortunately, Lunar sniped me from Cinderace and then pinged me, and then I was actually asleep, so they ended up picking Weavile for me. Um, I don't think I meant to pick up Weavile here. I think I was supposed to pick up Scissor, but I kind of worded things poorly. However, I wasn't really mad about Weavile because at least it meant that my speed tiers are pretty set in stone for the rest of the draft. Like you can see here, like I already have my 125, I have a 108, 102. Like that's pretty much good enough in the context of most things. There's not really much that is abusing that between Keldeo and Weavile speed tier. Um, might have to deal with some bulkier like Greninja, Masquerada, Torn T, but I don't personally, because Weavile's faster than them, I don't think it'll be like too much of an issue. I was also considering making this a Terra Captain, but I actually have used Terra Weavile before, and I don't remember like using a Terra other than like Dark for like knockoff spam. So I kind of figured like I could save the Terra for something else, which I end up doing. So now this is where things like really start going downhill for me, because this next pick is probably not going to make any sense. I picked up Pelipper. Okay, so if you do know me though, when I mentioned earlier that Garchomp helped me win a chip, it was Garchomp on a Rain team, and now don't ask me why I've drafted Rain twice in Paldex with Garchomp and Pelipper. But this is the second time it's happened, and I swear it's like not on purpose. I don't really think there's any merit to running Garchomp and Rain. If anything, Rain probably hurts Garchomp, but you know, it was a little bit rough because at this point in the draft, I was looking at getting my Steel type. I was trying to get something like Metagross or Iron Crown. And then I think it was Empoleon, and they all got picked up. And I was like, you know what? Fuck this. I think I'm gonna probably have to lock myself into Archelodon as my Steel type because it's still on the board. So I might as well just pick up Pelipper because if I'm using Terra Keldeo, I can at least use like Rain, Choice Specs, Terra Water Keldeo and just demolish everything in its path. And it kind of seemed fun to me, and with the rest of my plan and like the amount of points that was left on the board, there wasn't a lot of high tier picks. I felt like Pelipper wasn't really a waste, even if I didn't end up leaning Rain. Pelipper is 10 points, and I don't really think it was worth. Like, I don't think I really lost much out of like picking it. But what I will say that I did actually lose is I lost Pheasantipity because my next pick ended up having to be Tentacruel. So yes, I really wanted Pheasantipity this round because I've used I've heard that Terra Keldeo and Pheasantipity have been performing really well in a lot of like Paldex tours and like drafts. I just want to kind of see what it's about because as a person that really loves Pheasantipity, I can kind of see the synergy of that. Keldeo beats a lot of ground and steel types for it. And I also have Garchomp, which I have used with Fez before, and Garchomp also helps break steals and poisons that Fez baits in. And if it doesn't bait in those, it's probably baiting in grounds, and those grounds lose to Keldeo. So I felt like I had a lot of synergy there, however it got taken. And I think some other removals getting picked up, so I end up going Tentacruel because at least it has Rain Dish. It also gave me a Hazer, which is whatever, as well as like a Pivot, T-Spike, Spin, and you don't really get a lot of mons that have removal in this format, so Tentacruel it was, and Tentacruel is what I got. And then I also noticed that there was not a lot of steel types on the board, so I picked up Bronzong as my next pick. Again, all of the steals I wanted got picked up, and Bronzong was like basically my last hope at this point. It was either Bronzong or like Skarmory, and I think I'd rather have Bronzong because at least with Bronzong, I can run Levitate, and I basically have Heat Proof if it's in the rain because, well, rain reduces fire damage, so like it's basically like having only two weaknesses. Which I guess the Pret Doc kind of shows. Like, oh, excuse me. That heat proof makes it not weak to fire, but it's only weak to like ghost and dark, which I think is cool for Zong, and I have Weavile to help cover its weaknesses. And I also kind of see a lot of potential in Bronzong on its own as like a Trick Room sweeper or just like an offensive mon. 89 attack isn't good, but you can make it work, and it has decent like its coverage is kind of obnoxious. I'm not gonna lie. Um, I think it gets like psychic noise now as well, so that's pretty cool for it. Next up, we have another Terra Captain. However, this time it's Hatterene. So at this point, because Fez was gone, and all the other fairies were getting picked up, I saw that Hatterene was still on the board, and I didn't really want to leave it there much longer. But actually, the reason I picked up Hatterene as a double psychic is because I needed another special breaker, I think, or just like another special attacker to kind of like fill the gaps. Because I felt like between like Zong, Weavile, Garchomp that I had a better physical side than I did special. Because I only had Keldeo really, or like I guess Pelipper, but I wouldn't really count Tentacruel as like a special attacker. So I picked up Hatterene. I was like, you know what? Terra Hatterene has also been enticing me for a while, but I'm not gonna get too much into it because you'll see why later. But yeah, I did have Terra on it. So my next pick is Bramblegast. Bramblegast was one of the only mons on my entire plan that did not change whatsoever. I don't think I deleted it from a single plan. I thought its grass ghost typing was pretty cool. Being able to beat stuff like Torn and Zapdos and stuff like that, which, excuse me, I only got 2 hours of sleep, so that's why. But like stuff like Torn, Zapdos, um, I kind of struggle against those, and I think Brambleghast kind of helps me like beat those in a sense, or at least force them to run weaker moves in order to even hit me. Um, so I kind of like Brambleghast, and also got Rapid Spin, because again, removal in this format is just so ass. Like even Pelipper doesn't have Defog, which is really stupid. I think Bronzong should get Rapid Spin too. I'm not gonna lie, but yeah, Brambleghast really helped me with that. Also gave me a Spikes user as well as like Shadow Sneak, um, just to get me more priority. Next up, we have our Chaladon. So I was not planning on picking up our Chaladon, but I got sniped so many times that I ended up picking up our Chaladon. The original plan was to pick up Thunderous Therian because I wanted a better like offensive Rainmon. I think it was at the point that I picked up Hatterene, which is why I picked up Hatterene because I wanted more special breakers. But the fact that Thundy was taken from me, like it gave me enough points to like really be able to lean a little bit more into this rain. Like I already have Keldeo, I have Pelipper. Tentacruel has like Rain Dish. Bronzong kind of has some like rain synergy as a steel type. Hatterene kind of fits on like weather slash terrain teams already. Just being able to like magic bounce like hazard. So I was like, you know what? I'll just lean more into rain and just pick up our Chaladon. I already have my other steel type. Um, I already have my like proper steel type, like you know the one that resists fairy and like important things like that. I was like, I can get our Chaladon. I was originally trying to get Scissor over Bronzong because Scissor got defog, and I could use it as like a pivot, and like a like a choice span breaker. I already have like decent physical attackers on this team. For some reason, I just felt like I needed more. But I've never used Archelodon before, and I'm kind of excited to use it. I will also say, though, I am considering slapping Terra on it, but you'll kind of see why I don't have it as a Terra later. So with that said, let's get into my 10th pick, which was Quillfish Hisui. I was originally going to get Overquill because it was my last 9 points, but it got taken like right. It was taken like a little bit before my pick, and I think I know why. So, and I'll also slap Magmortar here because he's not important. He's actually not on the team, but this whole division, ever since like round 3, was a complete bloodbath. For me, it kind of started with Pheasantipity getting taken. I know before, like, a couple of my picks were getting taken, like Empoleon and stuff, but I was kind of fine with those mons getting taken. A Tentacruel actually kind of helped me, like, it helped me feel like I wasn't fucked over entirely, which was nice. Like, it made me feel like I had a chance, even though I don't think Tentacruel's a good mon. I don't really condone people for I don't condone using it really, because its stats are awful. And like if you compare it to Pheasantipity, like Pheasantipity does everything better than Tentacruel as like a pivot. It even hits harder than Tentacruel, and it has recovery, and it has a more of a physical defense stat than Tenta does, and more SPF. So like it's just better Tenta, and it's a fairy. So like why would you not use Fez? I mean, yes, Tentacruel does get Rapid Spin and Knockoff, but I don't... Fuck that. I already have Pelipper and... Pelipper Knockoff, and I have Weavile. I don't need more Knockoff. So... Yeah. And then for the Bronzong, I actually sniped a lot of people of Bronzong, which was kind of funny. Hatterene was one of those as well. I think I wanted Enamorous, but it ended up getting sniped. Enamorous Therian. Oh, and also for Bronzong, like there was so many steel types that I went through. Like there again, Empoleon, Metagross, Iron Crown. I think there was a couple others in there as well. Scissor was the big one. I think when Scissor got picked up, I was like, okay, I have to get Zong now or I'm fucked. And thank God I did. Brambleghast, I had no issues getting Brambleghast. Although I will say I got it a little bit earlier than I wanted to because someone picked up the Decidueye like right before. I was like, okay, I'm not fucking around with like another Rapid Spinner on the board, and a mon that I think kind of fits well on this team, like no matter what. So I picked up Brambleghast. Archelodon was just sitting there, so I was like, yeah, I'll just get Archelodon. I would have gotten it a lot earlier, but at that point, like, I already had Zong, and I felt like I could just kind of focus on getting my other important pieces first. For some reason, I didn't really view Archelodon as important, even though I think on a rain team it probably should be, but whatever. And then because Overquill got taken, I had to take Hisui and Quillfish, and Magmortar to fill those last 2 points. But yeah, the biggest snipes of the draft I think were Fez and Empoleon, and that like most of the snipes had made me go into the direction of rain, and I kind of just had no idea what I was trying to do for this draft. But I actually ended up thinking, on its own, I think this draft is fine. However, bye bye Tentacruel, bye bye Hatterene, bye bye Quillfish, and bye bye Magmortar. So, first up, I would like to welcome to the team Pheasantipity. Alright, so yes, I did get sniped from Pheasantipity. Dawson picked it up round 4, but then the next day he was like, okay, so who wants Pheasantipity? And I was like, are you fucking serious? Because you sniped me and it made me draft fucking Tentacruel. And people are trying to gaslight me saying that Tentacruel is better than Pheasantipity. It is not. It is not at all better than Pheasantipity. The only reason you use Tenta over Fez is when you have no other removal. And honestly, I considered it only having Brambleghast as a removal. And I also had Hatterene, which was, I was like, okay, this is fine. However, Dawson pretty much just kind of put Fez on my team. And I was like, you know what? My original plan was to use Fez with Terra Keldeo, and this is my chance to use it. So yes. Okay, thank God that pop-up isn't showing. My computer came with fucking McAfee, and I didn't even download it, but it's a fucking virus, and it has to pop up like every day. So it's very fun. But yeah, anyways, so I did end up with Pheasantipity, but it did mean that I lost Tentacruel as a pivot and removal, but I kind of would have rather that happen because I like Fez a lot more. And because I had Bronzong, I got to drop Hatterene, which I don't really think Magic Bounce is the best form of like anti-hazards or removal, because I feel like people in OU, especially, like, they're gonna get up their fucking hazards against me no matter what I do. So I didn't really mind dropping Hat because I end up picking up, oops, as my Terra Captain, I got Basculegion. So since Overcool got taken, I figured that I might as well just take the best Rain Sweeper on the board. I didn't really need the speed tier because I have Weavile. So I picked up Basculegion, and I think Basculegion's cool because, yes, it has Swift Swim, but it also has adaptability, and in a matchup where I'm really struggling to break something on the physical side, I can just get up Rain, go straight to Basculegion, and click like Choice Band, Adaptability, Wave Crash, Terra Water in the Rain. Is basically gonna kill everything. I'm pretty sure even like Liquidation just kills everything. Because I've used Rain before in Paldex, and I will say that Basculegion kind of absolutely demolished everything, and it didn't even have Flip Turn, so now I have a Mon with Flip Turn. Pivoting. Well, I already had Keldeo, but I have another Mon that can pivot and get in my other threats, because like I don't really think my team is like overly rain reliant. Like a lot of these Mons just work outside of Rain. It's just that Rain buffs like everything more than it should, except for like Garchomp and probably like Brambleghast. But like even Fez can use like Hurricane if it has to. So it's just a cool idea that I had. But yeah, Basculegion ended up being on the team. Again, I could Terra Weavile, but at this point, I felt like I'm just gonna Terra like my Swift Swimmer. But if I end up not liking one of them, then I will probably switch it to Archaludon. But for now, it's gonna be Basculegion and Keldeo. 2 offensive water types, but hey, I have 3 water types. Who needs a defensive one? Also, I have no water weakness, which is nice for a Rain team as well. Next up, I got Mandibuzz. So since I dropped Pentacruel and Hatterene, I really needed to get my removal back, and someone dropped Mandibuzz, and I was like, you know what? Weavile is currently my only Ghost Resist, so I might as well just go double Dark again. And I'm already doubling up on types quite a bit. I have triple Water, double Flying, double Ghost, double Dragon, double Dark, and double Steel. And at some point I had double Fairy, but I don't anymore. So I picked up Mandibuzz, and I figured, hey, it has reliable removal. It does kind of force me to use Mandibuzz and Brambleghast like every week, but I don't think it'll be that big of an issue. To be honest, in certain weeks, like I don't really think my team is like slow enough where it loses to hazards. And I have my own hazard pressure as well that people need to be wary of. Although I did lose my T-Spikers, because I had Quillfish and Tentacruel, and now I don't have either of them. But it's fine, because my last pick is... Oops. It's not getting rid of Mandibuzz. But But it's actually another Terra Captain because we got 28 points for Terra, and Keldeo was 14. Basque Legion was 9, which I think is a steal, by the way. I got Vikavolt for 3 points, and it was a 3-point Terra, which I thought was kind of crazy. I've used Vikavolt in Paldex before, but it was expensive, and I didn't know that it had lost Roost in Gen 9, so when I found out that it lost Roost, I was really disappointed. But it still kind of did some work. It checked a couple things. Defensively, it has some decent resists. It's another Levitate Mon, so I'm not weak to ground in any way. Although as an electric type, it doesn't really help like against flying types. But I do have Bramble Ghast for that. Bramble Bronzong Archaludon like mostly handled the flying types, which is nice. And Vikavolt can kind of do that too. But I could also run like Agility plus Thunder. Like Vikavolt still kind of synergizes in the rain. I think I'd rather take Vikavolt over Raichu, because my options were like Raichu and Raichu Alola, or like a normal type, and I think I would have rather taken an electric type. And I get Sticky Web, which is just better for me because it makes people want to run their own removal, when I probably won't end up running it. But you have to respect Chomp Rocks, you have to respect Spikes, you probably have to respect Bronzong and Archaludon Rocks, and you have to respect Sticky Web. I'm surprised Vikavolt was that cheap, but I'm not going to complain about it. If they want to make Vikavolt cheap, then sure. Although I will say its stats are not as good as I remembered it being. Its special attack is like basically its only stat, but it can live a hit, and I've seen it live a hit. It's just like I haven't really seen too much of Vikavolt in Gen 9, so I don't really know. But yeah, this is the draft. Hopefully you guys enjoyed watching this. Oh, you can't even see Vikavolt. There you go. He's kind of there. I thought that I had the 12th slot there, not the 11th slot. But I do have 11 Pokemon. For a short off season, I can imagine that I don't use these guys that much. Like I can't see myself using Bramble Ghast or Vikavolt like often, but if I can make it to a playoff run, then I think everyone will get a chance to shine. And I can't wait to see who will be on top shining, because I think I got some pretty good threats here. And I think all of my mons are usable as well, which is very cool, and that's one of the things that I like about this format in this off season. But all things considered, for being a bloodbath, I think we skated out not really injured that much, and I think my draft ended up being better because of it. I mean, I was originally planning on getting Overquill as my Terra Captain, but I ended up getting at least a water type with Swift Swim, which means Stab in rain. Also has like adaptability and like the strongest water move in the game, other than Fisher's Rend, I guess. But like it has those options, which is cool. And I would rather click buttons than click spikes. And as much as I think Overquill does click buttons better than it clicks spikes, Basque Legion, its whole purpose is to click buttons, and I love that about him. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this team. Uploads for this will start next week, and I'll see you guys then.